So, wow. It's like, where do I go next? Because how do you follow up a flute amazing ensemble like that? That's just gorgeous. So, I guess, is there anything like specific that you feel it's on your mind right now that you would like to share today, based on anything we're talking about? I'd like to kind of open it up a little bit with
Hmm.
maybe what's on your heart or what you might want to share, just kind of see if there's something there.
Yeah, so these conversations, they get me thinking about all sorts of things that can, sometimes memories from a long time ago and the journey and playing the flute. And after I finished, and I appreciate all the compliments. That's really sweet. And I also think that I was thinking that it's tied into it, and I know a few people that have, say, the flute came into their life and they're like, I want to do that, and then they put their all into it and they become great flute players and all. But I think that somehow, like the ease that it is for me to express on the flute, I mean, part of that's because my world is immersed in it, but part of that was just there instantly. And I think it goes hand in hand back to this idea of going with the flow and being led to what you're supposed to do, and first, I don't want to discount anybody and their own process, like, because some people's gift is their intellect, and and then they have to practice, you know maybe creating more balance by getting more into their intuition, and but what comes natural to them is their logical mind and their way to sort of assimilate things from their thinking and their process, their mental process. For me, that's very difficult, and I have to practice that to create balance for myself. And there's this kind of joke that I say a lot, is like, um, because I smoked a ton of weed when I was a kid, right? So, so
Yeah, I
I,
get
I,
you, man. I'm there,
I,
dude.
got, I always make a joke about like how that helped me get into my intuition. I was like, I had to make decisions from my gut because I didn't have any brain cells left to be able to to be able to logically think
Right.
about what I wanted to do. I'd be like, nah, nah, I'm good, or okay, I'll do that.
That's funny.
But yeah, but really going from that place and allowing to be led, and also thinking about, like, how far are you willing to go to compromise that? And I understand that most people don't get to this place probably until they already have kids, until they already have tried to experiment in these other realms, and they already have like responsibilities and children and bills and things. And so they might not be able to take the route that I did. But the route that I took was a very, I am stubborn. That is something that I have to admit. I can be a stubborn person. And I was very stubborn in the idea of, I'm not going to compromise who I am and what I
Yes.
believe for anybody and for what society says I should do. And that was why I was in that depression when I was a kid, because anything in my world was telling me the maps, the roads that I needed to take to find success and happiness, and they didn't
Right.
resonate with me. Hey,
Right.
Miguel, when are you gonna go join the Marines? Nah, sorry, pops, that ain't happening. Or like, and then college, like, all of high school was to prepare you for college, and here I am, like, and it, I think, was advertised to me in a way that if you don't do that, you're gonna be a failure, you know. And of course, I'm rebellious toward that even thought. But I thought about it. I thought about it. I took a couple college courses, and if anything, I would have went to school for art. But here again, society tells you you have to go to college because that is the only way that you're going to be able to support your family, et cetera, et cetera. And I know that reality, is getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, I try to raise my child to go to college. She's getting ready to go to the University of Manoa. I'm so excited for her. But but we have to really be honest with ourselves. We have to listen to ourselves, and everybody's path is unique, you know, and we can't let what everybody else in the TV and the society and Instagram is telling you what is beautiful, what is successful, what is happiness. You have to discover that for yourself. And and so on that path, I never compromised. And so what that meant for me was I actually was, I wasn't going to do something that I didn't like. I wasn't going to do something that wasn't in alignment with my values and my point of view, or, of who I was. And yeah, that meant for a while I was really broke. I mean, I was really broke. I mean, traveling around the country. This was way before cell phones and way before GPS. And if I wanted to talk to my parents when I was young 20s, I had to find a payphone somewhere and pay $1.10 to say hello for 30 seconds. And truly on your own, just truly on your own, just trying to trust and have faith that things will work out. And it took a while, man. I had times where I was living under a tarp in Eugene, Oregon, sleeping on a cot coming into the rainy season. And I had some pretty, times that I kind of think I was excited about then, but looking back, I'm like, whoa, that was pretty rough. But still, that faith and knowing that I was going somewhere and I was learning things all along the way. And these things just fell into my lap. Learning
Yes.
how to craft and learning how to travel and sell my wares. I was one of those, I never was a spare changer. I never had that inside of me that I could just ask somebody for a
Right.
handout. I didn't have that, but but I had
That's
to find ways to hustle and make ends meet. But I was really poor for a long time, and then those flutes came into my life, and they became something that I could sell for a relatively decent amount of money. And probably the first 5 years of my flute making life, we were still hippies that lived with like 6, 8 people in a house, and had a little organic farm and had all these
yes.
houses next to each other,
Yeah.
and lived. I mean, my income was $500 a month, and I was chilling, dude. I was happy. I was happy as pie, right?
It's important though. You point out some really important things. One is that you recognize that what you gained out of that journey, right? So some of that was for you to learn and grow, and but also recognizing that the universe still provided for you, however that was, and enough that you needed, right? Like this is the mindset that I try and get a lot of people into is that the question I always ask is when have you ever not been supported? Right? Because the struggle for survival and money, because money is just energy, y'all. It's just
Mhm.
energy. So what you have to recognize is instead of trying to, because I've worked my butt off and had nothing, like, and jobs and just constantly working, and then it just feels like I'm constantly struggling because my connection was to the abundance of lack, and therefore I had a support system of more of that same frequency, that same mindset was the abundance of lack. And
Mhm.
so, the difference is when my life shifted is that I stopped looking at my life that way. I started looking at how blessed I was and how, and even though the way my life was at was where I was at in my life at the time was stayed the same, things began to shift because I shifted the way I saw my life. And like where you're at, like you were actually in a course of developing what was going to be the supported system, right? So yeah, when you first starting out, you're cultivating that skill, the flute making, and you're living life and you're gaining experience and you're still really happy with where you're at. So your energy is really building into really manifesting what is now very supportive for you and has become, really lucrative. And but you get to do what you love. And yes, it is, and you're probably at times like, man, how much of this do I want? Because you don't want it to take away from your love of that
Mhm.
too, right? And I know that's something you're kind of shifting as you change your business model a bit, but it's just, you can, my point is, I guess, is find again what makes you happy. The system, if you go through school, that's fine, but don't go to school doing something and then look at it as, okay, I'll do this because this is what's going to provide to me and make me money and give me the big dream house or whatever that I think that I need. Instead, go into like, I'm going to learn and do what I know I will enjoy doing. And then in doing so, I will be supported with all that I need and more. And, partly what helps to support that is also giving, right? Like, that's what really is going to help to support you even more. There's a few laws that you touched on, spiritual laws, that I like to refer to. One is the law of inspired action. And that's when you're inspired and things come to you and then taking action, which you did. Learning the flute, moving into that space, and then however that led later, and continuing to move towards that inspiration. And then, the other one is kind of like the law of compensation. But I don't like to say it's just like what you put out, you get back. I mean, that's true because that's part of the attraction, but it's also what you put out, you get more back. So when you put out positive energy, it comes back tenfold, man. So this is why, like, giving from your heart space, right? This is what we're trying to help others with. Like, give from your heart, we say a lot. Like, that's part of our donation-based system, is love and appreciation donation. And when you say that, people are like, man, I don't know what that means. Like, how do I give from my heart? Dude, it's just be honest with yourself, honest with the experience or whatever, and then you give from your heart. You can never give too much, and whatever you give, you will get back in a lot of ways. It's all energy. The universe will balance. It's always in balance. Energy exchange will always come back to you, right? And if there is an imbalance in some way with somebody that you're working with, or something that happens, that's for them to sort out in their journey, and the universe will make the rest of it right for you. That I can attest to in an experience. That's what I've been experiencing just for the last year, and it sounds like to me that you've also been experiencing through your journey. You've had that. You're still here, and now you got a flourishing business, right?
Absolutely.
And it's because you've always been present and been authentic with what you want in that. So that stubbornness, that's what everybody needs, man. Be stubborn in that. Don't settle, man. Don't settle.
Yeah.
Don't do that job right now that you're stuck in and you're like, man, I'm miserable, but it pays the bills. Like, I get that, man. I live that, but it's, why live unhappy, right? Like, this is always my rationality. Like, okay, so you're in a job you don't like. There's other things you'd like to do. What's the worst part of this that could happen? You leave the job you're unhappy with. You go do some things you really enjoy. You're really happy for a while doing it. And then it's like, maybe it doesn't work out. And then you go back to doing the job you're unhappy doing, which I'll tell you won't happen. But if you do, you're just right back where you were. It's not like you missed out on anything. There's always going to be those jobs out there. So why not go find what you want to do that you enjoy doing? And maybe you're gonna find that that's exactly where you're meant to be, and you're supported doing that and being happy about it. Right?
Totally.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you touched on a couple of things there. What I like to call sacred reciprocity, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned something about my spirituality now, and so this flute journey has also gone hand in hand with my spiritual walk, and they can't be separated. But I don't know, I feel like if people are actually living their spirituality, you can't separate it from any other areas of your life. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Right.
you can put a business hat on for a while, but that's always there, and
You're spirit, so you're always spiritual. Like,
absolutely.
that's what you recognize. We are all spirit.
Yeah.
So there's no, I'm not spiritual. You're spirit, dude. You're always spiritual.
Right. So within that, couple of things, like sometimes the sacred reciprocity, it's not necessarily in a direct way, right? So if this is a thing that's very unconventional, like back in the day when I used to have to worry about selling a flute, and say business was slow and I was worried about paying my bills, guess what the first thing I did was? Probably gave away a flute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because my mind says, oh, maybe there's an imbalance. Maybe I'm asking for all this, but I haven't been giving enough. So here I am. And so I come from a really giving nature. The other thing about that is this spiritual path, this what a lot of people call the red road, which, I can't even put it into a box like that. It's not like that on any level. Not my elders, my grandpa, my mushum. We don't think that way, but there's some traditional things, teachings that are really underground. It's interesting because there's all these modalities of spirituality within the US, right? That everybody is just super inspired by. And the South American traditions, I think, are really popular right now. The India traditions are really popular. And they all have medicine. They're all beautiful. I feel like we're meant to be inspired by all these areas.
Absolutely.
And the path that I'm on here, or like I said, I don't even like to say that, but I say that because I've been given the right to be a spiritual leader and do specific ceremonies in Ojibwe Native American tradition, right? And it's interesting to me how this tradition is still the most untouched by America. And I know that the reason why is because if you're up here and you're using things from South America, you don't have South Americans up in your face telling you that you're appropriating our stuff. And if you're doing stuff from India, there's all these things.
Right,
And
right.
and I'll say that there's a lot of politics around Native spirituality, and there's a lot of questions of who are you and why are you using our stuff, and there is that. But the truth is that any of the elders that I love and respect, they know that their spirituality is for all people, right? And I'm
Yes.
kind of getting a little sidetracked, but
No, I
one
love
of the
that. Thank
things in
you.
that tradition is that and that I hold on to, which goes back to my beliefs that I learned in the Rainbow Gathering, is we never charge money. Like there's these key things that I see and again, I don't say this to have judgment or discount anybody and where they've learned from or things, but these are things that I have to stay within these sort of things just because I want to respect my elders, but also because I believe in them. But one of the key things is we'll never ever say I'm a shaman. We'll never ever say I'm a medicine man. And we have teachings very strictly that say if you hear somebody say that, turn around and walk the other way, because now they're coming from a place of ego. Now they're coming and trying to say I can heal you, and we don't believe that. The Great Spirit's the only thing that can heal us.
Yes.
And we just do our best to be humble. And if we have the right to do those things, someone gave me, a Sundance or whatever, a vision quest. I can do these things for people. Well, they don't do you any good unless somebody trusts you and they give you tobacco to ask you for your help. And you never advertise that and say, "Hey, I'm this. I'll do that for you. I'll heal you." We don't
Right.
mess with any of that. And that's something that I get really scared about in mainstream society when people start telling me their qualifications. That's the first 5 minutes of their talk. I get nervous about that. But also we never charge money for anything. And so I spend many, many, many hours of my life pouring sweat lodges, singing songs, doing healing ceremonies. And yeah, we can accept donations, but we hardly even tell people that. We just go and we provide a place for people to heal. And I know that that's the big conversation these days is well, people don't value it unless you put a price on it. And there's all of these things that people say
Yes.
nowadays. But the truth is that I know that when I do those things, I'll be blessed. And I'm actually a chief of a buffalo ceremony too. And the buffalo represents all this stuff we're talking about, manifestation and removing all of our doubts so that our dreams can come true. And we have all that. But the thing is that what I know is that if people are suffering and they truly want help, whether they have money or not, they're going to receive that help. And at very least, it's going to start them on a path of hope and inspiration. And maybe we can crack some things open to help them start, understanding themselves better. And we provide these things for people. And I know, and I've always known, this is the teachings of the buffalo or things that I've, had my own visions and inspiration on years and years ago, is always knowing if I'm good to people, if I follow my heart, if I'm good to people, if I help others, I will always be provided for. There's just trust in it. And I could name many, many days where it's the day before the day my mortgage is due and I have no money, and I go into a sweat lodge and I sing some ceremony songs, and I come out, and after everybody leaves I check on the computer and I sold exactly the,
Yes.
$1,200 worth of flutes that I needed to sell for the next day's mortgage.
Yes.
And it's happened to me numerous,
Oh,
numerous times. And now I'm evolving into a new place, which you mentioned, because I used to have a mindset that was, um, that I'd always have just enough to be provided for. And now my prayer has changed to be like, I want to have more than enough because I want to help people with that. I
yes.
mean, I want to help my daughter go to college. I want to help, I want to be able to help support my wife and chill on a beach in Maui every once in a while and actually cultivate that. And that's okay. That's not greed. And it also,
Yes.
I'm asking for help to continue to have the time and the freedom in my life to be able to reach out to our fellow brothers and sisters that need a hand, you know what I mean? And to be able to
Yes.
offer help to people. So it's
Yes.
huge. Yeah.
Oh man, like that's like you're speaking my heart, dude. Like this is why I know we're so connected, man. Like collective is wide open, and even though like you've got the spiritual walk that you're on right now, which I honor in every way, and I'm on my own spiritual walk, it's still so in alignment with so many things. And a couple things that I definitely want to recap that's really important that we talk a lot about here at Center Me. That's my business out here in West Des Moines. And it is one that, like, our mission here is about empowering others, empowerment to you. So you come in for a healing, and I do Reiki. That's one of my practices is Reiki, and we teach Reiki. Well, when you come in, I'm not the healer. I'm not healing you. I'm holding space. I am kind of calling in and I'm praying and blessing that, and mostly I come from a space of gratitude for just the opportunity to be there for somebody and to hold
Mm-hmm.
that space. And then whatever I can do to help assist them with their body's own natural ability to heal and whatever they need. And so that is really, really important. And like the shaman thing, like you talked about, again, it's just recognizing that there's a big difference between that. Anybody who says I'm healing you, I'm curing you, um, that's that's coming from a different space. That's what I call 3D, right? That's the 3D matrix. I'm healing you, I'm curing you. It's you that does this. It's you. This is also part of taking responsibility. So we teach. I just taught a Reiki class over the weekend, and we opened our level 1-2 Reiki class to be done by donation with just a minimum materials fee, because we provide books and things too. But we did it this way because we felt it was such an important thing for people to learn, because they needed to learn to empower themselves and how to walk with the earth and the energy. And Reiki is it's a universal life force energy. It doesn't matter where it comes from, prana, chi. I'm sure the Native Americans, they have their way of speaking about it as well. It's universal life force. That's what we're
Mm-hmm.
working in. And it's just allowing people to recognize they have that ability in them to do this. Yes, you can have the assistance of others that can help maybe clear you a little bit, help, but it's you that does the clearing. Even when I do Reiki, your higher self, your spirit is guiding that energy wherever it needs to go and clearing what needs to be cleared. So I'm just like, thank you for letting me be a part of this. Here we go. And I just let it go where it needs to go and know and trust that that's what's happening. So that's amazing. I love that you just, again, it's just
Mm-hmm.
like two paths, but one journey, right? Like it's really beautiful, man. I just got chills even saying that. Um, so that was really important, and that is important to recognize this, and then there's nothing wrong with opening yourself up to receive more, And what's key in this is you pointed out again is, and I call this service to others, service to humanity. Taking care of yourself is a part of that journey. You can't help others if you're not in a good place. So the journey starts with you, right? Heal what
Mm-hmm.
you need to heal, do what you need to do to get you right, get yourself grounded, get yourself clear, find that alignment, that purpose, that happiness, and then share that with others. teach others, share what you know, help others whenever they need help. Share that love, that compassion, and that is what will, for one, help to support all of us, and two, what's going to bring in all that, whatever it is that you need and support. And like you're saying, like now you're like, I want to provide more, not just for myself, but for my kids, for my family. I want to, every once in a while, I want to take a travel. I want to go to a nice place, right? Because I recognize that's also part of my journey, and that's a part of your free will. That's a part of your, what you're here to do too, is find that enjoyment. And the universe says, hey, no problem, man, we got you. You just keep
Hmm.
doing what you need to do for others. Show up where you need to show up. Be whole, be loving, put intention where it needs to be, and we'll take care of the rest. And look at
Hmm.
you've shifted that energy, and then look at your business. I mean, it's just, I know, even just since I first started watching you, because a friend of mine bought a flute from you, I've just seen a huge jump. I watched it just a little before Christmas, and it's been just like building and building. And then here I finally am like, I finally could buy a flute. Which, guys, I want to point out, I'm buying 3 flutes. I didn't, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. I might have, but I'm getting 3 flutes. I didn't just get one. Because I just couldn't help myself. They're all so good. We were just talking about this earlier. I'm like, I could get them all, dude. I still want more. I'm not even gonna lie. And I bought a drum. I bought a Rav Vast, which is just amazing. And you helped me pick out a flute that matched. And this is what it's about. Like, because my heart is in music, my heart is in sound. I honor that, and whatever else I need to do for the rest of the people that I come in contact with community, I'm just gonna show up and be there, man. I'll be there,
Yeah.
right? Because I am blessed in a way that, I mean, I get to play music. I never thought in my life that I would be like doing something I like playing music, playing drums, playing flute. I never even saw myself playing flute, by the way. And here I am doing it for people, and they enjoy it. It's helping them, and I just love to do it, right? And so, how amazing, how blessed am I? And it's not because I'm doing something for them and I'm amazing at playing flute and all this. No, I got people that come in and ask me, that allow me to have this opportunity, give me this space, right? I'm here to hold space. I'm here to journey with you one way or another, and just share love, man. Love, right? So that's what the
Hmm.
heart's about. So, man, Miguel, this has been great. I think, we're reaching right around the hour mark, and I could talk forever with you about these. And I hope that maybe we can do this again. I know you got your own show going, and I would love and love to really invite you in again and do another talk when there's time, or when we can set this up again, if you're open to it. Um,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah, it'll be fun.
yeah, dude, this is great. So thank you once again for this. I think, I'll just kind of say one little last message, and I'd love for you to share whatever you've got for people. And then if you'd like to play us out a little bit, that would be wonderful. So, guys, I just want to remind you again, if you like this content, you like what we have here, please like and subscribe here. And make sure you like and subscribe what Miguel is doing over there at Singing Tree Flutes. I know you'll like it. Just go over there, subscribe. It's a no-brainer. Get on his website, start looking at the stuff he's got. But his YouTube channel is a good follow too. He's got a lot of really wonderful advice. He's a great, wonderful guide. So just kind of follow those things, and be good out there. Listen to what we're saying here. Follow your heart. Find your happiness, and stick to that, and don't let anything misguide you from that path. So, all right, Miguel, what do you got for us?
Oh, well, if you're a man, I want to tell you that I love you. And I want you to tell another man that you love them too. And if you're a woman, you probably already tell people that you love them all the time. But just keep being honest with yourself, and keep loving yourself, and loving yourself enough to take the time and energy to make your greatest life. You know, that's what it's all about. Yeah. Okay.